So this topic interests me a whole lot. Uh, Before I dropped out of college, I was interested in the teaching route in order to communicate effectively and understand the school system in a better light, uh, and understand its failings, right? From like go up under the house and look at the pipes. Why is the faucet not running? And so this topic interests me a lot uh, in the school system because if we do not take care of the children, there will be no country. If you allow the children to come up in a bad environment, what are we doing? Uh, I mean, all of these school shootings breaks my heart. All of these school shootings, where are they coming from? Why are we having the need to arm our schools? Um, what is this attack on the youth? Very important, very critical. Uh, and I think a lot of it is that the culture that was in America was slowly eroded away, uh, mainly a Bible believing culture that had its values and its morals, such as love God with all your heart, all of your mind, all of your strength, and all of your spirit, and loving your neighbor as yourself. Like those morals come from the Bible, uh, and they are understood in a particular type of way, and that culture has been eroded. There is a culture of greediness, of selfishness, and the Bible tells us that greediness and selfishness are from the world, right? They are sinful. They miss the mark, right? Violence misses the mark. And I think returning to a school system that honors multiple cultures will be better than a school system that honors no culture, right? Um, if we don't allow this expression of free speech into schools, what are we doing? Why is it the worst possible thing whenever somebody prays in a school? something like that should be honored and allowed as part of their freedom of speech. It does not incite violence. And if, I'm not even asking that schools are a religious institution. Don't make it a religious institution, but have the freedom to where religious institutions can be, because that's going to be the families of the community, right? And by blocking these Christian inspired ideas in school, uh, you're just creating degenerates. Atheistic, immoralistic, money seeking behavior comes out from these institutions, such as uh, a Nazi idea that the means, or that the ends justify the means, right? Uh, I think returning to a historical view and the cultural significance of Christianity into schools would be beneficial for America, that celebrates a part of its history that is worth celebrating. Okay. Another thing uh, that comes comes from the Bible, like another concept that comes from the Bible that I think is uniquely American, is a lot of our morality written into the law comes from Christian ideology, such as due process and like no unreasonable search and seizure, and just playing fairly, right? Give your opponent a fair chance. And I think that comes from things like the idea of uh, on Jesus Christ, the rock I will stand. All other ground is sinking sand, right? I could go on and on about the relationship the United States unknowingly and or knowingly depends upon the Bible for its source of morality. That's why uh, whenever you are sworn in, you swear upon the Bible. Um, the spirit of truth will lead to all truth. And ideas like that need to be in our schools. Um, yeah, truth needs to be the leading spirit within our academic process. right now, I would say the academic world is a dog eat dog world, and it is very uh, bad on the mental health of students. What philosophy is leading it right now? Like no child left behind. No, truth needs to be the core principle of the school system, and right now it is not. There is a spirit of control. There is a spirit of giving up your rights for safety. Sounds like mafia stuff. Yeah. I think the Bible and other ideologies should be able to coexist in our schools. And the demonization of Christianity needs to be truthfully looked at and understand its consequences of not having it in our schools. Not on a faith based association, but in a factual, historical, uh, culture celebrating kind of way. I remember uh, a story about the the shooters in Columbus, like one of the first big major shootings, that some of his targets were based on Christianity. Is this a hate crime? Christians have put up with it for years, and the decline in the Christianity population, which has its own troubles, right? That it's nobody's perfect, but they propagate these ideas. Uh, they talk about loving truth and things like that. That's at least that's what the Bible teaches. Uh, getting that back into our society would be nothing but good. You know, uh, Treating others respectfully, that comes from the Bible. The characteristics of the Holy Spirit, uh, that comes from the Bible. So it's not necessarily a a bad thing to have conversations about where our knowledge is founded upon. With all the other differing cultures, and just let the debate process work. Like, let's live in truth and honor the truth of the matter. Yeah, this topic really interests me because I think, at least with my experience, that would cover all of the drawbacks the current system has. And it shouldn't be manipulated. It should be talked about as a matter of fact, like how I am speaking about it right now. This requires a high level of academic skill to be able to understand that these ideas are what hold our civilization together. That if we agree on these moralistic groundings, then we will have a good society. We will have a good civilization. Another thing that the Bible talks about would be that it teaches personal responsibility. Take responsibility for your own actions, be accountable to yourself. Very uh, individual perspective in terms of what the moral groundings are, right? I mean, who's against peace, love, joy, kindness, patience, faithfulness, steadfastness? Who's against that? I'm not gonna. You answer that question. Forgiveness. Who is against that? This is a revolutionary idea that forgiveness exists, and that a lot of world religions are very uh, stringent on following the rules. And if you mess up, you will be harshly punished. Right? Christianity doesn't teach that. It says you will mess up and it's okay. Learn from your mistakes. That there is forgiveness. Nobody can uphold the full weight of the law. Nobody can. Oh, you went 5 miles an hour over the speed limit? I think um, I think it goes in the direct opposition to something like the belief in karma. You, you what goes around comes around. You know what I mean? I think that's a lower level of thinking than the idea of forgiveness. I mean, these are the critical ideas that have given America its culture that we do not allow in American schools because we are told that it is bigotry and hatred. No, it sounds like a mindset to be free. And that's what America promises: freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and freedom of the press. And whenever you take away those rights, you will be held liable. I see the taken out of the Bible and Christianity from the schools as an attack on freedom of speech. Right? Uh, you gotta uphold the law. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video. Uh, and share this video. And God bless you. All right.